ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all having a great and wonderful day. Well, what we have here is JD Vance absolutely destroying the CBS News anchor or journalist, a journalist in quotation marks here, saying, talk about to Margaret Brennan on illegal immigration and many other things, because these woke lefties, these insane people think they're getting ahead on us. Well, unfortunately for them, they're not. And there's a few things that we have to go over here as well, because, there's a lot of crazy things that are happening, and I don't think people are allowed to know. So without further ado, my friends, we're going to get directly into this. What we have here is from Colin Rugg, pretty much explaining what's going on here, and saying, I don't really care, Margaret, that there are people coming into our country that are asylum seekers or etc., because we have to focus on Americans here.
Well, Margaret, I don't agree that all these immigrants or all these refugees have been properly vetted. In fact, we know that there are cases of people who allegedly were properly vetted and then were literally planning terrorist attacks on our country. That happened during the campaign, if you may remember. So clearly not all of these foreign nationals
but there are
have been properly
30,000
vetted.
people in the pipeline, Afghan refugees.
But my primary concern as the vice president, Margaret, is to look after the American people. And now that we know that we have vetting problems with a lot of these refugee programs, we absolutely cannot unleash thousands of unvetted people into our country.
These people
it's
are
not
vetted.
good.
These people are vetted.
Just like the guy who planned a terrorist attack in Oklahoma a few months ago, he was allegedly properly vetted, and many people in the media and the Democratic Party said that he was properly vetted. Clearly he wasn't. I don't want my children to share a neighborhood with people who are not properly vetted, and because I don't want it for my kids, I'm not going to force any other American citizens' kids to do that either.
No, and that was a very particular case. It wasn't clear if he was radicalized when he got here or while he was living here.
I don't really care, Margaret. I don't want that person in my country, and I think most Americans agree with me.
Yeah, and I 100% agree with JD Vance. It's like, I don't care if these people were properly vetted. I don't care if these people were asylum seekers or etc. I don't care. Because the point of the matter is that I do not want these dangerous so-called people being next to my family or my friends, and then I had to end up getting a report or a message that one of my family members were either raped, killed, or etc. because we didn't properly vet or allowed a psychopath into our country. And then let's just go over this here, right? This is from NBC News themselves. DHS identifies over 400 migrants brought to the U.S. by an ISIS-affiliated human smuggling network. And this was done before, this was even put out before this. Now look here, guys. Look here. This was on June 25th, 2024. So this was before even they got into this interview, all right? Before they even got into this interview. And we're supposed to say that these people are properly vetted. We're supposed to say that these people are good, right? No. This is a travesty. And we cannot be allowing these people to go through. We cannot be allowing thousands of these type of people to just be going through our networks and be like, they've been properly vetted. It's like, no, I don't care. I don't care if they're from another country or whatever. Why are they here? They can go back. It's not our duty, our responsibility to deal with these people in our country. You don't like what your country is going through? Change it yourself. We're not responsible for you, and we never should be. Here we have this here from, JD Vance really destroying this person here, saying just because this country was founded by immigrants doesn't mean 240 years later we have to have the dumbest immigration policy in the world.
Well, this is a country founded by immigrants.
Well, this is a country founded by...
country.
This is a very unique country, and it was founded by some immigrants and some settlers. But just because we were founded by immigrants doesn't mean that 240 years later that we have to have the dumbest immigration policy in the world.
And as you can see here, this is her face. This is her face. Listen, there is not a country that has these laws. Period. There's not a global country that does this outside of our own country that has these laws. And again, even if we were founded by over 1 million immigrants, or we were founded by people that were from other places, etc., or any other way, does not mean we should have policies that allow other people coming into our country illegally. Because we don't know where they're coming from. We don't know how safe it is. And on top of that, our culture will be changed when we allow a huge amount of people coming into our country, whether it's legally or illegally, especially illegally. So I don't know where she's going with this. And the fact that she has this smug look on her face as got ya, and it's like, no, you didn't. You're just acting a fool. You're looking like an idiot. And this is one of the reasons why people are getting tired of the media because, well, people are getting tired of it. They don't want it. We don't want to deal with this anymore, man. We just don't want to deal with it. And it's just smack right into the face. Again, we have this here from JD Vance, pretty much saying they're in Damascus, etc. And when disaster strikes, Americans ought to expect more out of their federal government. And yeah, I think faith in the federal government is quite lacking.
This is, I think, one of the fundamental premises of President Trump's leadership. The American people should expect more of their government. When there's a terrible disaster, they should expect food, medicine, and water to get to the people who need it. When there's a terrible fire in California, the fire hydrants ought to actually turn on. I am sick of the American people having such low expectations for their government. They should demand more of us because this is the greatest country in the world, and that's what Donald Trump's leadership promises to bring back. And this is,
Yeah, I agree. I think if you go talk to anybody right now and you say, oh, we have utmost faith in the government, whether it be left or the right, you would find out that nobody has real faith in the government. It's like when there's a natural disaster, especially after the Biden administration, it's all like, well, are we going to get $700 worth of food and stuff like that? $700 when our house is like a multi-$1,000 thing that's gone, or when our house is burned down and we can't even go clean out our own houses or our own lot because it was burned down to the ground because of safety reasons. Like, what's going on here? Like, the federal government and the government in itself is just so atrociously bad that nobody would ever want to have faith in their government. We expect less. When we get rattled or destroyed, we expect, especially under the Biden administration, to give us a measly $700 to go and function. Like, especially in the comedy, how are you supposed to do that? $700, especially in LA, when you were talking about LA, those are $1 million homes. $700 is not even a quarter of what you would need for the house. Or for anything. You can't survive on $700. You can barely survive $700 by yourself, let alone a family. So the federal government is a complete travesty, and why would we even want to trust in this? Again, we have this for JD Vance just called out the hypocrites who spent the last 4 years cashing over $100 million in government checks while remaining silent as countless young girls were sex trafficked, raped, and murdered thanks to Democrats' open border. Here we go.
Margaret, because as a practicing Catholic, I was actually heartbroken by that statement. And I think that the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops needs to actually look in the mirror a little bit and recognize that when they receive over $100 million to help resettle illegal immigrants, are they worried about humanitarian concerns or are they actually worried about their bottom line? We're going to enforce immigration law. We're going to protect the American people.
Yeah.
Donald Trump promised to do that. And I believe the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, if they're worried about the humanitarian costs of immigration enforcement, let them talk about the children who have been sex trafficked because of the wide open border of Joe Biden.
You personally
let them talk about
going
people
into
like Laken Riley who were brutally murdered. I support us doing law enforcement against violent criminals, whether they're illegal immigrants or anybody else, in a way that keeps us safe. But let me just address.
Yeah, it is crazy. The most of the people that are talking about the illegal immigration is because they are benefiting from illegal immigration. They are benefiting from all the stuff that's been going on because either their companies get to hire these illegal immigrants for cheap on the dollar, or they get a whole bunch of money from the government, as JD Vance has just said, where there's incentives. So, like, Democrats want illegal immigrants because they can spread around the illegal immigrants and be able to hold more control, more power along the states, and can become more blue states. But the people that that do not want it, for instance, do not want illegal immigration. I'm sorry, the people that were with or for illegal immigration are ones that are the ones that benefit, and the ones that are not for illegal immigration want to feel safe, want to be safe in their homes, make sure that nobody's getting hurt or killed or raped or whatever. And this is the point of the matter is, if you are benefiting from illegal immigration, then yes, you're going to be supportive of it, and that's where you have to start thinking about it, right? We have this here finally about the whole bacon thing for JD Vance. So we're going to show this as well.
There was record oil and gas production.
Yes, Joe Biden did many terrible things to lead to an increase in prices. I agree, Margaret.
No, but all the things you experience at the grocery store are what people touch and feel. That's what you were talking about, bacon on the campaign trail.
Of course, of course.
Those things. When do consumers actually get to touch and feel a difference in their lives?
Well, Margaret, how does bacon get to the grocery store? It comes on trucks that are fueled by diesel fuel. If the diesel's way too expensive, the bacon's going to become more expensive. How do we grow the bacon? Our farmers need energy to produce it. So if we lower energy prices, we are going to see lower prices for consumers, and that is what we're trying to fight for.
And there was...
Yeah, this woman is just disgusting, man. This woman is disgusting. Now, here's what a lot of these leftists and Democrats are doing in particular here, is they're saying like, oh, well, you said we were for bacon, we're supposed to see prices go down. Why have prices go down? It's like, first off, he signed some of these executive orders within the past few days, right? Has passed these these executive orders in the past few days, right? How are you supposed to have prices go down within a few days? That's not quite possible, right? I don't see how that's reasonable in any regard. Well, you have to give time, right? It takes time for this thing to go through, to get processed, and to actually reach the market and say, like, oh, well, our prices are down, our energy costs are down. Okay, well, now we can lower down these other prices because you're not paying as much. So, that being said, it's all a time frame, and she's all like, we want it now. Well, it's already been signed. You gotta give it a couple weeks or so for it to actually start working here. And this is the reason why I hate the left. It's like, they're trying like, oh, you did this, but why aren't prices going down? Well, prices, just the same thing as for Biden. The prices didn't start going up until a few months afterwards, right? Or half a year, right? Well, it's the same thing with this. You're probably not going to see prices start going down for at least about a month or two, because it takes a while for these things to start bubbling up and start spreading out through the economy. It takes time, and this lady is just trying to be like, I gotcha, and it's not really a gotcha moment. She's just an idiot like the rest of these liberals. So, yeah. Guys, I love JD Vance. I was very, very, very skeptical of this man coming in, right? Very skeptical, because I wasn't quite sure if he was part of the deep state or whatever. I wasn't quite sure on how good of a choice he was for Trump. But now that I see him, I'm really, really, really liking JD Vance. I am liking him a lot. And I actually want him to be president for 2028. I really do, because I like him. He's doing a good job shutting down the media and making Trump honestly look good in the matter, which is part of the VP's job too. So again, this is heads above of what we got for Kamala Harris. So this is a good thing. All right, guys, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share. As always, take care, my friends.
I'm disgusted by what I see in public. Even people closest to us can't be trusted. This is algorithmic disease, the social media.